accepting it as a part of you. It doesn't mean accepting that, oh, this is just how I am. Because we are the only ones that can change ourselves. Okay? So when you hear people say, oh, that's just the way they are. No, that's not really acceptable. We hold those aspects within us, but it doesn't mean that we don't have the ability to change the way we use those aspects of ourselves, okay? The way we express those aspects of ourselves, the way we create from those aspects of ourselves, okay? Because all of these things that we hold within ourselves are the experience of the self that is wanting to come into full expression. And by denying that that exists within us, we cannot express it in any form. Hello, everyone, and welcome, welcome, welcome. I threw a reading out on the table asking for some guidance when I was done doing some readings that I put together a couple days ago. So it's been sitting on my table while I've been doing some editing. And I wanted to come on and talk a little bit about this reading and what is happening and what Spirit is really bringing to us. There has been a lot of challenges that have been coming forward for us over the last several years. And for some of us, it feels like the challenges have gotten even more intense within this year. And I have been given some really, really beautiful readings about, what is coming and about how we are moving into this new and beautiful energy. But for right now, you guys, I know that a lot of people are really struggling within the energy and really having a difficult time. And it's really hard for us to talk about that within the spiritual community. And especially when we hear about so many people that are talking about how wonderful their ascension is and how beautiful everything is. It makes us feel that we are not doing a very good job of our own ascension process. And I wanted to come on here and tell you guys that just simply is not the case. That when people come on here and are just sharing their sunshiny process of how everything is so wonderful, they're not showing you all sides of it. I mean, there is always both sides. There is always healing that we are going through. I do want to say that this year, that the healing is much quicker. When it comes into our awareness, once we become aware of it, we can process it very, very quickly. Okay? So that is something else that I find extremely interesting. So once it comes into our awareness, we are able to process it very, very quickly. It doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. So if we are sitting in a state of asking, why is this coming? Why is this coming? Why is this coming? You're not going to process it, which is going to hold you within that pattern. It is simply becoming aware of that pattern within you and being able to accept that as part of who you are now. Okay? It doesn't mean that you have to go through and change everything before it's healed. The healing comes from sitting in the awareness that it exists. Okay? I hope that makes sense to you guys. I'm having a hard time. I've got a little bit of a lisp. I bit my tongue. My tongue's a little bit swollen, so I'm having a hard time speaking a little bit, so I do apologize for that. But it is what it is. Life is not perfect by any means. So moving into that awareness of that aspect of yourself existing within you and then accepting it. Okay? That is not saying that it is completely changed. That is an ongoing process of changing our response and our reaction to that aspect of ourselves, because it has been hidden for a very long time. We have pushed it down inside of us. So now we have to learn how to bring that aspect out of ourselves in a productive and creative way. Okay, I hope that makes sense to you guys, but this is what I am receiving. I'm not even sure what this card reading has to do about this, but here we are, you guys. So while we are processing this, and while we are living to change this and becoming into the awareness of this, we begin to shed those layers. Okay? And the layers are the judgment, the shame, the guilt, all of those things that we have put up that is encapsulating that part or that aspect of ourself from being seen. Okay? It is being encapsulated by those dense energies. Okay? By those dense energies. So when we accept that this is a part of ourself, we no longer have to hide that, and it can fall away. Okay? Now that doesn't mean that that aspect of you is gone. It couldn't be further from the truth. That aspect of you is now integrating within your body. Okay? But in the awareness of knowing that that exists within you, it can no longer hold you hostage to that guilt, to that shame, to that judgment. When you accept that as a part of you. Accepting it as a part of you. It doesn't mean accepting that, oh, this is just how I am. Because we are the only ones that can change ourselves. Okay? So when you hear people say, oh, that's just the way they are. No, that's not really acceptable. We hold those aspects within us, but it doesn't mean that we don't have the ability to change the way we use those aspects of ourselves, okay? The way we express those aspects of ourselves. The way we create from those aspects of ourselves, okay? Because all of these things that we hold within ourselves are the experience of the self. That is wanting to come into full expression. And by denying that that exists within us, we cannot express it in any form. Okay? Doesn't matter what form it wants to come. It can't be expressed if we're denying that it exists. Right? Okay? We're throwing a big tarp over top of it. Okay? And that's what creates why we say a lot of times it is our shadow or our darkness, because we are putting it so deep into the depths that it is hidden. Okay? So it needs to be brought forward. It needs to be expressed. Right? Bringing that back into the self, into loving the self and having compassion for the self. Whatever that aspect is, it can be anything. You know, whether it's shame and guilt of hiding something that maybe happened to you, that you don't want to be judged because of that. You know, maybe you did something that, you know, you're ashamed of the way you behaved. But forgiving yourself then allows you to be able to make amends with yourself. And when you make that amends with yourself, that energy exists within you. It will move through your outside world, because everything comes from inside. So once we understand that everything comes from within ourself, that is how we can change everything around us. That doesn't mean that we can just suddenly change other people just like that. It doesn't mean that. What it means is that we can change the energy that then is attracted to us. So if we're sitting in a loving energy, a compassionate forgiveness, we will attract that energy towards us. And we will begin to look at the world through different eyes. We will begin to become more compassionate for what we consider to be others' faults. Okay? Whatever it is that we have been taught to say that is wrong. So that is what I have for you today, you guys. 1044. Interesting. The 144 Collective has been stepping forward for me a lot. And there is the dog beginning to bark as soon as I bring that up, saying, hey, okay. And some music that's starting. You know, this is telling me that I have come to the end of this transmission. So I am sending you guys so much love. Please remember to always let love be your guide.